بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters, to our series of walkthroughs for the resources found in our Arabic grammar workbooks, our study of Al-Muqaddimah Al-Aajurroomiyyah. This recording will help you understand resource 31. And you should only be listening to this resource if you've studied lesson 31 and the previous lessons leading up to it, of course, and you've taken the quizzes in the form of these resources in our workbooks. And most specifically, you have attempted to complete resource 31 on page 138 of the Aajurroomiyyah workbook. And you've likely noticed that there are no answers for this resource in the answer key. So you'll need to walk through it with your teacher, and this resource has been prepared to help you with that. Resource 31, تمرين على علامات الإعراب. This is an exercise in the various signs of إعراب. شامل إلى الدرس الحادي والثلاثين. This is a comprehensive review tool for all lessons up to lesson number 31. المطلوب, what's requested here, مثل لكل نوع من الكلمات الآتية. Provide examples for every type of word. في جمل مفيدة. In complete sentences. وأظهر علامة الإعراب كما في الأمثلة. And as well show clearly the sign of the i'rab of that word as found in the examples provided. So notice we have rows and columns. The columns are those things going up and down, and the rows go across, right to left. Now, the columns are marfu', mansub, makhfud, and majzoom. And that means you'll need to provide a sentence that has the requested language item in each of those four cases. Well, as we know, verbs only have 3 of those, and nouns only have 3 of those. So we'll have to provide 3 examples for each requested language item. And we have 9 language items. One of them is already finished, so you have 8 more to complete after you've understood the example. So look at the first one, ismun mufradun, a single noun. So the examples provided are simple and clear examples. And let's try to keep this exercise simple and clear. Just demonstrate that you know these language items and you know how to formulate them. جاء الرجل. The man arrived. جاء الرجل. The whole point is to put that dhamma on that lam as you see there. You can put tashkil. You can put markings on everything. جيم مفتوحة. Put a fatha on the jim. Put a fatha on the hamza. جاء الرجل. You can put a shadda on the ra with a fatha. You can put a dhamma on the jim. None of that is absolutely important here. The thing you have to do is put that dhamma on that lam. The last marking of the ism mufrad is what is requested here. Then the mansub version of that would be رأيت الرجل. رأيت الرجل. The important thing is to put that fatha on that lam because it's mansub, right? It's an ism mufrad mansub. علامة نصبه الفتحة الظاهرة. Then you have the third column, مخفوض. مررت بالرجل. Notice that it's the same simple and easy example following a pattern that we set up in class. جاء ورأيت ومررت بي, to give us 3 examples of how nouns would be. مرفوعا ومنصوبا ومخفوضا. So مررت بالرجل. الرجل has a kasra on its lam here, and that's the sign of it being مخفوض. It is مخفوض because of the ba, حرف jar or حرف خفض. So الرجل is مخفوض. علامة خفضه الكسرة الظاهرة. And then an example which is مجزوم, لا يوجد. There is no such example. Why? Because اسم مفرد is an ism, and there's no such thing as an ism مجزوم. For every one of the remaining 8 items, you'll need to identify one column which is impossible to provide an example for. So let's get into it. جمع تكسير, an irregular plural. Let's use, for our example here, الرجال. And if you used الأقلام or anything else, fine. You don't have to use the same exact word as I do in this walkthrough. But الرجال, let's say جاء, رأيت, and مررت. الرجال is the plural of رجل. جمع تكسير, it's the irregular plural. Okay, so جاء الرجال. الرجال is جمع تكسير مرفوع علامة رفعه الضمة. رأيت الرجال. الرجال in that case is منصوب علامة نصبه الفتحة. مررت بالرجال, just like بالرجل. It is مجرور, or you could say مخفوض علامة خفضه or علامة جره الكسرة الظاهرة. And of course there is no such thing as a جمع تكسير مجزوم, because a جمع تكسير is a noun, and there is no such thing as an ism مجزوم. The third item requested is a جمع مؤنث سالم, a regular feminine plural. So for our examples, we'll be using the word المسلمات. جاءت المسلمات. رأيت المسلمات. That's a special one there. You would think it would be رأيت المسلمات, because everything so far has had a fatha as its sign of being mansub. But you remember that جمع المؤنث السالم has a kasra as its special sign of being mansub. And then مررت بالمسلمات. مررت بالمسلمات. المسلمات is مخفوض علامة خفضه, and the sign of it being مخفوض is the kasra. And of course there's no such thing as a majzum example, because again it's an ism. So in the 4th and 5th requested items, we're going after verbs, and that means we are going to use that majzum column. So let's look at the next requested language item. فعل مضارع صحيح الآخر. So I've chosen to use the word يجلس. And you could have used يقوم. You could have used يقرأ, يكتب, or any verb. فعل مضارع صحيح الآخر. يجلس. The important thing is the last letter must not be an alif, waw, or ya. So يجلس زيد. That's what I put for the مرفوع column. يجلس زيد. So يجلس is فعل مضارع مرفوع علامة رفعه الضمة. Then I put لن يجلس زيد. I added the harf ناصب, لن, with a noon, not a meme, لن, which negates the future action. لن يجلس زيد. My يجلس turned into يجلس. And so يجلس is منصوب. Of course فعل مضارع منصوب علامة نصبه الفتحة. And then for the مخفوض column, there's no such thing as a فعل مخفوض. So لا يوجد. And then the final column for مجزوم, I'm going to use the harf جازم لم with a meme, لم, which negates the verb for the past. لم يجلس زيد. And I'm going to put a sukoon on my sin because it's مجزوم. يجلس became يجلس with a sukoon. So يجلس فعل مضارع مجزوم علامة جزمه السكون. بارك الله فيكم. The next requested language item is a فعل مضارع معتل الآخر, Like the previous requested language item, it's a fi'l mudari', present tense verb, but it must end with harfu illa, an alif, a waw, or a ya. So I'm going to go with qada yaqdi. I'm going to take the mudari' of that, which is yaqdi zaydun. Yaqdi zaydun. Yaqdi is marfu', alamatu raf'ihi al-dhamma. Wait a minute, al-dhamma? Yaqdiyu? No, just yaqdi with a sukun. What happened to the dhamma? It does not show up. It's there behind the scenes. منع من ظهوره الثقل. The Arabs didn't like to say yaqdiyu. They didn't like to say iyu. So they would just eliminate the dhamma and say yaqdi. Then for the mansub column, I put a len there. Len yaqdiya. Len yaqdiya zaydun. And I put a fatha on my ya. And so we say yaqdiya فعل مضارع منسوب علامة نصبه الفتحة الظاهرة. It's there, you can see it. Not مقدرة. Then for the مخفوض column, there's no way to provide an example for that because this is not an ism and no verb can be مخفوض. Then we go to the final column there, مجزوم, and I'm going to use the harf جازم لم to negate the past of that verb, لم يقضي زيد. And I'm going to remove the ya and leave the kasra on the dad to indicate the removal of that ya. And I'm going to say يقضي فعل مضارع مجزوم علامة جزمه حذف الياء. Or I could say حذف حرف العلة. بارك الله فيكم لم يقضي زيد. The next requested language item is ismun muthanna, a dual plural noun. So notice, you've been given the mansub example. رأيت الرجلين. So let's use that word, الرجلين, for the marfu' and makhfud columns. After we understand why we're saying رأيت الرجلين, الرجلين is mansub. علامة نصبه الياء, because it's ism muthanna. Then what would the marfu' example be? جاء الرجلان. الرجلان اسم مرفوع علامة رفعه الألف, because it's marfu' and it's ism muthanna. And then the makhfud example would be marartu bi. مررت بالرجلين. الرجلين is مجرور علامة جره الياء, just like the mansub i'rab. And then there's no possible example for the majzoom case because it's an ism, not a fi'l. There is no such thing as an ism majzoom. The next language item is a jam' mudhakkar salim, a regular male plural. Let's use the word al-muslimuna. And let's say for the marfu' column, جاء المسلمون. جاء المسلمون. المسلمون اسم مرفوع علامة رفعه الواو. Let's go to the mansub column. رأيت المسلمين. المسلمين اسم منصوب علامة نصبه الياء لأنه جمع مذكر سالم. And then for the مخفوض column, let's say مررت بالمسلمين. And we'll say المسلمين is مجرور علامة جره الياء لأنه جمع مذكر سالم. And of course there is no example of a مجزوم جمع مذكر سالم because it's a noun and there is no such thing as a مجزوم noun. The second to last row, اسم من الأسماء الخمسة. Let's go with Abu Zayd. The word is Abu Zayd. So Abu is from الأسماء الخمسة. جاء أبو زيد. Abu is مرفوع علامة رفعه الواو لأنه من الأسماء الخمسة. رأيت أبا زيد. أبا is منصوب، علامة نصبه الألف لأنه من الأسماء الخمسة. مررت بأبي زيد. أبي is مجرور، علامة جره الياء لأنه جمع مذكر سالم. And of course there is no possible مجزوم example. Our final requested language item is فعل من الأفعال الخمسة. And that means something on the scale of يفعلون or تفعلون or يفعلان or تفعلان or تفعلين. Any of those scales. Any verb on any of those scales will do as your example. So there are many possible answer choices for this one. I'm choosing to use the word يجلسون, and I'm going to keep it simple by saying هم يجلسون. يجلسون فعل مضارع مرفوع علامة رفعه ثبوت النون or ثبات النون or simply النون لأنه من الأمثلة الخمسة or لأنه من الأفعال الخمسة. As for the mansub example, then I'm going to add in the harf لن with a noon, لن, to negate the future. لن يجلسوا, and I'm going to take the noon off. So لن يجلسوا. يجلسوا فعل مضارع منصوب علامة نصبه حذف النون. And then there can be no مخفوض example because we're dealing with a verb here. And so the last column, the مجزوم example, will be negated with a لم. لم with a meme. لم يجلسوا. And يجلسوا is فعل مضارع مجزوم علامة جزمه حذف النون. بارك الله فيكم. I hope these examples have helped you to know if your answers were right or wrong or close. May Allah Ta'ala bless you and give you success. And now we're on to lesson number 32. Insha'Allah Ta'ala, asking our Lord Jalla wa Ala for success. وصلي اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.